Yeah, that happened. What is up, Finn fans? Um, I've been wrong about this team in the past. I've been a fan for 30 something years. Started in 85. Um, I've never been more wrong. So, to all those Finn fans that had basically said, you're crazy, this season's a wash, we're done. Hard to argue today. Wow, let's go into everything that I was wrong about on this game. One, the only thing I wasn't wrong about, I said I would not be surprised if the Colts won this ball game. I felt like it was that even, I think was my exact words. Not even. Not even at all. And you can throw the paper out the window about the front seven, the offensive line, the team as a whole at this point. Because this was embarrassing. And when you look at the fact everybody's done give up on this team, hardly anybody was even talking about this team other than the fact of how dysfunctional it was, how miserable everybody was, and that McDaniel, Greer, Tua, all on the hot seat. And then you come out and drop 30-0. And before you correct me, I get it. It was 33-8. That's fine. But those 8 points from the Dolphins meant nothing, and that final field goal from the Colts meant nothing. It was all trash time. When the game mattered, it was 30-0. And I've already heard people saying McDaniel should be fired. Already. It's week 1. And normally I would say major overreaction. But when your job is on the line and you come out and you put that on the field, because this was horrible across the board. This was horrible across the board. Coaching, the offense, the defense, the special teams. The special teams weren't horrible, but when you finally, the Colts scored on every drive. Let that sink in. Every single drive, the Colts scored. The one time that they stopped them to punt the ball, we get a roughing the kicker. Well, that was running into the kicker. They don't really have a roughing the kicker anymore. Basically, you touch the kicker, it's going to be a penalty. And but okay, I'm exaggerating. Yes, you can still get roughing the kicker. And it was running into the kicker. It was 5 yards and an automatic first down. That summed up. No, I'm going to go even further. I'll tell you what sums up the game. Is the Colts had the ball 1st and 30. 1st and 30. And on the very first down, the Dolphins get a holding call, 5 yards, automatic, first down. That's how bad this was. And we'll go down the rabbit hole of the fact that James Daniels, I made the statement, his arm don't worry me. I ain't worried about his arm, it's his legs. We have trouble with scrambling quarterbacks. We still had trouble with his scrambling. But James Daniels, 22 of 29, 272 yards through the air, and a touchdown. He also rushed 7 times for 26 yards and threw in a couple more touchdowns on the ground. He looked amazing in this game. As a team, Colts 418 total yards, Miami's 211, 156 rushing yards to 78, first downs 27 to 12. And unless I tell you different, this is all in favor of the Colts, obviously. Third down, 7 of 15, 5 of 10. Fourth downs, Colts were 3 for 3 on fourth downs. One that was an absolute disgrace by the defense. Dolphins were 1 of 2. Turnovers, Tua. 2 interceptions and a fumble. He was responsible for all 3 turnovers for the Dolphins today. The Colts, 0. Nada. Nothing. Time of possession, 38 minutes, 43 seconds for the Colts. 21 minutes, 17 seconds for the Dolphins. And then you had the penalties. The Dolphins actually did better. 3 penalties for 15 yards. The Colts had 4 penalties for 45 yards. But 2 of those penalties were basically negated by the 1 penalty that the Dolphins had for 5 yards, kind of trumped their 2 penalties for 20 yards. That's football math. It's insane. We'll look at the stats. We'll go with the Colts first because I already started with Daniel Jones. Tremendous, absolutely MVP of the game was Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor also 18 carries, 71 yards. DJ Giddens 12 carries for 41 yards. Receptions, Pittman Jr. 6 catches, 80 yards and a touchdown. Tyler Warren, the tight end, 7 catches for 76 yards, and he absolutely ate our defense alive in that first half. Pierce had 1 catch for 36 yards. Kind of see why he led the league in yards per catch. He only had 1 catch, but it was for 36 yards. And then Jonathan Taylor also had 3 catches for 27 yards. Obviously, a few more scattered here and there because Daniel Jones was throwing the ball. He looked like Dan Marino throwing just to the open guy. He completed passes to like 8 different receivers out there. And then also 3 sacks on Tua, 1 that caused the fumble. Cross, Moore, and Beckham had those 3 sacks. And then you had Cameron Bonham had an interception on Tua, and then Lotto, I guess is the way you pronounce his name. He actually dropped into coverage. He's a defensive lineman. Dropped into coverage and picked Tua off. For the Miami Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, 14 of 23, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, added a fumble to that. Devon Achane, 7 for 55 yards. He was 7.9 yards per carry, but he only had 7 carries. We're back at, and I know we fell behind early. I get that. But what happened to we're going to run the football. We are going to run the football. They did run the football. Like 12 times in this ball game. It's insane. We as a team rushed the ball 12 times. Jonathan Taylor by himself rushed the ball 18 times. I'm keeping it. I'm good. Uh, Hill, it was a joke, 4 for 40 yards. Back to the rushing. I will say, if you want to take something from this game, Gordon, even though he only had 2 carries for 4 yards, but he did carry on that third down, and he ran with power. So this guy, he is a power runner. That's one good thing you can take from it. That's all I got so far. But hang with me. Waddle, 4 for 30 yards. Achane, 3 for 20 yards and a touchdown. And the touchdown was nice. Refusing to go down. He earned that touchdown, even if it was garbage time. I know that. I'm not trying to justify, look at Achane. But it was a nice run. And he was hit about 3 times, and he willed that touchdown. And then Malik Washington added a couple of catches for 20 yards. Chubb had the only sack, and that's the main thing I want to get into that I was so wrong about. Chubb gets the only sack of the game, and I was excited coming into this season about this front 7. You've seen the videos. The front 7, I'm really excited. This defense looked horrible today. It absolutely looked abysmal. They looked like they were playing on skates. The offensive line was the same way. It was like you hiked the ball, and the defense, they stood up, and then it was a stalemate. They never moved. Never moved. Daniel Jones had all day to throw the football. They got no penetration whatsoever. Just literally stand up and they're stuck. It's like they were playing in mud. Absolutely abysmal. The first quarter, the Colts dominated. Indianapolis, 12 minutes. They had the ball 12 minutes in the first quarter. It's absolutely amazing to me. Of course, you had the penalty. Like I said, the one time we tried to get them off the field, you had the running into the kicker. The other issues really early is James Daniels injured on the very first drive. Looks like a pectoral issue in the chest. He was out, but at least it wasn't the ankle. But we'll see. I'm trying to think. We had a player just a couple of years ago had an issue with his pectoral, and he couldn't grip anything. So it caused him a lot of problems. And then Storm Duck also goes down, which he wasn't playing great when he was in there. That back end, as bad as I thought that it was worse. In the first half, the Colts had 255 yards, the Dolphins 41. 41 total yards for the Dolphins in the first half. It is absolutely embarrassing. And do I think McDaniel needs to be fired? No. It's week 1. This is not the end of the world. It's not time to burn this thing to the ground. It's one game. But that being said, when you put that out on the field, and there was absolutely no fire. We were down 20-0 at the half, and when the Dolphins came back out, there was nothing. You saw nothing that made you believe that we had a chance in the second half. And of course, Tua comes out and throws his second pick on that drive, and that was, we were moving the ball a little bit on that drive, and then the interception, and the Colts never looked back from that point. It was over after our first drive of the third quarter. The ball game was done. So it's going to be an interesting week. I can't wait to hear from McDaniel. Even Weaver. I don't know if they'll talk to Weaver, the defensive coordinator, but I would love to hear his take on what happened to this defense, especially the front seven. Absolutely no pressure on Daniel Jones whatsoever. This team could not stop a nosebleed. This was embarrassing. The only other good take is New England lost and the Jets lost. The Jets lost a heartbreaker. I actually hate it for you guys, but right now I'm wallowing in my own self-pity. So yeah, good luck with the season. But I didn't think we would make the playoffs this year. But all I can go off of is today's game. That's all I've got to go off of. And if you go by today's game, we'll be lucky to win 3 games this season. I felt like we could only win 8 to 9 to start with. But the Jets looked a lot better than I thought they would. New England looks about the way that I thought they would. I think, I think they're going to get better as the season goes on. But the Jets put out a good product. They lost by 2 points. Lost by a point against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And looked like they had that wrapped till the end. And the Steelers kick a field goal. So congratulations to the Jets. I know you lost. But at least you lost with a little pride. Because I sure cannot say that about the Miami Dolphins. There was no pride involved in this game. And I don't know where we go from here. See you in a week against New England and see what transpires from that point on. But looking at it right now, it's going to be a long season, guys. So for you guys out there that wants the Dolphins to draft Arch Manning, hey, you guys got to be happy because we're headed in the right direction. I just hate to see the whole thing get burnt down. That's not really my mentality of giving up just to get one player. And so no, I could care less about that stuff. So guys, go out, make good decisions. Please make better decisions than the Dolphins have made, because it looks bad. And I can't even say fins up. I'm just going to say fins swim for your life. I don't know. Guys, have a good rest of your day. And we'll try again next week.